magic's nature to let anybody go. Something to do with time not being what it seems. Something about the Gestern heute Morgenswelt, things happening all at once, the way they do in dreams. And somewhere it's still 1932, it's Brooklyn, sepia dust, depression streets, neutrons discovered, Lovecraft still alive, fat Irish cops abandoning their beats and breaking into a spontaneous ballet, with nightsticks twirling, dancing on the stoops as though through Joyce's Dublin on one timeless day. They gather round the New York natal crib of Mrs. Wilson's pride and joy to stand with newsboys, gangsters, dig each other in the ribs or, tearful and red-faced, sing Danny Boy. The nuns of Flatbush, glaring and unkissed, line up to smack their rulers on his wrist, promoting Sister Kenny's polio cure, and all of this could be in the imagination of a squirrel furiously circling a tree. All of these people, moments and events could be no more than thoughts suspended simultaneously within the snow globe consciousness of Luna Wilson, dreaming in the ice, to question everything. That's still your only man, your best advice. And somewhere, Orson Welles' voice is leaking from old radios. The shadow knows if Harlan Riley scripted those specific shows, but suddenly it's 1958. They've set the matrimonial date. In a lysergic spindrift spray that grades from pink to tangerine, the chemist Albert Hoffman rolls up on the day astride his jelly bike while Leary rides down from an altered state. The decade's beatnik H-bomb clock ticks over to the 60s as they kiss and grin and celebrate until the lovely trouble starts. First Krasner's realist, then the rabbit raunch of Hefner's poolside swoon, wearing their hearts upon their paisley sleeves and psychedelic badges on their hearts. Soon he's reporting on the tension swirling around the Democratic armies of the Night Convention in Chicago, 1968. Tear gas grenades fired by police describe a fuming parabolic arc as William Burroughs and Jean Genet take each other by the arm and with great dignity, with years of bright experience between them, with soaked handkerchiefs worn like owl hoot bandanas, quit the park. But with Bob Shea of Playboy after dark and chuckling over creepy letters from John Birch's detailing conspiracies compiled from Nestor Webster's library shelves, our men read all the best bits out aloud and then decide to cook one up themselves. While elsewhere in the yesterday, today, tomorrow world, it's the mid-70s. Their unified field theorem of American anxiety become a textbook guide to hilarious occult anarchy. A trilogy that pulled it all together and changed paranoia from an illness into an illuminating game, before Dan Brown and David Icke hit town to change it back again. A rattling Zen caper movie full of sex, drugs, yellow submarines, Bavarians, Fnord, Marilyn Monroe and dazzling dime store profundity. Tell us, John Dillinger, how did you manage to escape from that locked cell? Same way that you break out of any prison hell, I just walk through the wall into the fire. 71 it's written, published 4 years later, and just 1 year after that, served up entire on stage. Ken Campbell's science fiction theatre of Liverpool, Bill Drummond working in the wings, who, feeling justified and ancient and inspired, moves on to other things. And during all this, there's been dog-faced messages from Sirius, coincidences piped in by the crew that never rests, new ways of seeing. And when Bob and Harlan's 15-year-old daughter Luna is shot dead during a stick-up job, he points out that her killer was a young Native American compelled to rob by brutal and oppressive history, opposes the death penalty, and stands as an extraordinary and exemplary human being. In another district of the Gestern heute Morgenswelt, meanwhile, it's Sunday, March 18th, 2007, and well, here we are, for one last 23 skidoo, clearing the wire with an important signal coming through from the agnostic wing of heaven. Robert Anton Wilson limped out through the wall into the fire, into the simultaneous party of eternity, into the splendid, timeless funfair of a life that he has somehow managed to survive, with 35 books weaving his idea in their spectacular diversity, weaving his luminescent consciousness into the intellectual DNA of our painfully slow developing society, and dancing somewhere with his wife, back when he could still dance and she was still alive. Researching pukas, watching Harvey in the cathode light, another Wilson on screen finds them in a dictionary described as rabbit spirits, working mischief with reality. And Mr. Wilson, how are you tonight? I saw him in a psychedelic vision once, with other magi in a room outside of time in shining white, a real Illuminati. A crew that never rests but works without respite to include everyone, every last one of us, within their light. And Mr. Wilson, how are you tonight?